Good, thank you. So thank you for joining today. Today I'm gonna ask about you to a Japanese player and visa summary experience and maybe vaccine situation until begins. Is
No
that
problem.
okay? Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay. So before we start, please introduce yourself. Okay, Jason.
So my name is Jayson Hannibal, and I'm a professional basketball player from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. 6'10" post player, beast in the middle.
And are you playing the Hong Kong League right now? Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna be going back to Hong Kong November 1st, so very soon.
And 10 years professional basketball player experience, right? Okay.
Yeah, 10 years overseas. And, it's been good. Gonna keep it going as long as the body holds out.
Okay, thank you. And あとテルさん、僕の動画にも何個か出てもらってますけど、もう一回ちょっとすみません、改めて自己紹介をよろしくお願いします。
はい、カナダに住んでる日系カナダ人の、池田照和です。FIBA エージェントとフリーランスライターとしてこっちで活動しているんで、日本語はこっち生まれなんでちょっと怪しい時もありますけど、よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。ということで今日はテルさんの紹介で、海外リーグで経験が豊富なジェイソン君に、カナダ人バスケットボールプレイヤーのジェイソン君に、彼は伊藤大司さんとか安藤誓哉選手とのチームメイトだったり、あとウィザーズのサマーリーグのプレー経験とかもあるので、その辺の話とかをしていきます。で、テルさんには特に英語僕全然できないので助けてもらいながらやっていきます。Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna start it. Okay. Okay, Jason, what was your first impression for Taishi Ito and Ando Seiya?
So with Taishi, him and I both played in college together.
Portland, right?
Portland, yeah, University of Portland. So when I came in as a freshman, he was a sophomore in his second year. And they had told me about how good he was. I know he had won some awards for being a very good freshman in the WCC. And I was very excited to play with him, and he did not disappoint. Very good passer, good shooter, and pretty good on defense too. The one thing that I can never forget about Taishi is his discipline. Very, very disciplined player. Whatever the coach says, he will do it exactly what the coach says. And so coach loved him. He knew that if, Taishi had the ball, it would get in the right place at the right time. So, being around him and seeing how he played, I learned a lot. And another thing that I never understood is that every time we would do conditioning, like running up and down, he never missed one time. Every time he makes it, every single time. I don't know how. I don't understand, because even if he's tired, he still makes it every single time. So just showing that, even though he may not have been the most athletic player, he had the willpower to always, get everything done. And I think he might have some record at UP, at Portland, for the number of charges he took. He took so many charges. He's always in the right place defensively. So it was always a pleasure playing with him.
He's an Asian Kyle Lowry.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jay, you're saying that he was the first Japanese guy with a scholarship?
First D1 player from Japan ever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, I think there might have been some walk-ons, but he was the first one with a scholarship who got a full scholarship.
Okay. Because people say Utah is the first ever Japanese player with a college scholarship.
No. Okay. Taishi is the OG, the original.
the forgotten.
Exactly. And what's crazy is that everywhere we went, there was someone who wanted to take a picture of Taishi. Some Japanese person with their kid, or some Japanese people who wanted to meet Taishi after the game. I remember we were at Fresno State playing a tournament, and it's a timeout. And some lady with her kid is like, Mr. Ito, one photo, please. and he's ignoring them because we're in a timeout. And they're like, please, Mr. Ito, one photo. He's like, hey, after the game, telling them after. And I was like, this guy's really a celebrity. So he's always been very popular and just a great guy to be around.
Yeah, there's a story about Utah too when he played at George Washington, where some lady threw, not like actually, she didn't throw the baby at him, but like she handed Utah the baby so that he would have to hold the baby and then take a picture with her.
That's pretty funny. That never happened with Taishi, but he would definitely get mobbed after the games by the Japanese crowds. And people just always knew, where he was going to be, where he was playing. And it's pretty cool that he had that support, all throughout the States. I was gonna get onto Seiya.
Yeah, Seiya.
So played with him when we were in Halifax. And that was his first year overseas. But to him, he's so excited to be playing in a different country. So it was exciting to see that. Back then, his English wasn't that good. I mean, I'm not sure how good it is now. It's probably much better. But back then, his English wasn't that good. And because we have a lot of Americans on the team, they usually don't understand when people's English, isn't that good. They're like, huh, what'd you say? But, me, I'm from Canada. So when someone kind of speaks a little bit of broken English, I can understand them better. So there was a point in time where I was kind of like explaining a lot of things to say, what people were saying, what things were what. We had a pretty good friendship when we were there. And our coach, Spanish coach, knew how good Seiya was. I don't even think Seiya knew how good he was then, because he held Seiya to such a high standard. Because we would do these shooting drills, and if Seiya didn't make, like for example, 80% of the threes, he has to do it again. If he doesn't make 95% on the free throws, has to do it again. So Seiya, he's like, doesn't want to miss, because he doesn't want to do it again. But putting that pressure on him in practice made him so much better in games, because since you don't see that many Japanese players, especially these American guys, they're like, oh, it's going to be easy to cross him up or to score on him or to steal the ball from him. They were wrong, because Seiya is tough, and he would be crossing guys up. He would be shooting threes on people. They'd be like, what? This Chinese guy? And we'd be like, he's Japanese, man, get it right. We'd all be defending him in the game. So it was good. He didn't talk so much, and he was pretty timid, but especially at first. But the more time he spent with us, the more he came out of his shell. And eventually, he started talking his shit, doing his thing, and ended up having a pretty good season. They went to the finals that year. I left the team midway, just, people get released all the time, and I was unfortunately one of the casualties of the team. But they went on to the finals and unfortunately lost in the finals, but they had a good year. And I think that was a really good experience for Seiya, to help him not be so timid and be a little more tough, And we're still in touch now, so that's good. We have a lot of fond memories of that season.
Sure. I know the coach at Halifax, he had a lot of faith in Seiya.
Yeah.
But why do you think that was?
Our coach had a weird way of sniffing out talent, and he could just tell how talented Seiya was. And I think also because I feel like there's a Japanese way of being disciplined and listening, where when the coach tells you to do something, if the player's Japanese, they're gonna do it to the best that they can, So knowing that, and then knowing that how talented Seiya was, he knew that if he put the ball in Seiya's hands and says, Seiya, don't lose the ball, Seiya will defend the ball with his life.
And then, just off the court, what were your best memories with Ito, Taishi, and Seiya?
Off the court, Taishi and I actually lived in the same dorm for a little while. So
the same room?
Not in the same room, just in the same dorm. Seeing him every so often, hanging out, playing video games, that kind of stuff. Had some good memories there. And then when we went to Australia, because we had a foreign tour in Australia, Taishi was just so funny. He was so funny. I can't remember exactly what the stipulation was, but it was something about if we had Coach made a joke earlier in the year about how if we did something, he would wear an Australian Speedo when we got to Australia and swim in the ocean, you know? And Taishi bought him one. Taishi bought him the Speedo with the Australian flag. And Coach turned red. His whole face turned red and everyone was laughing. But Coach did it. He put it on like a big, very white Coach in a Speedo. Small Speedo swimming in the ocean in Australia. And I was like, yo, Taishi, man. What's wrong with you, man? Nobody wants to see that, but there's a very funny memory, you know. So, and our coach should never have been wearing a Speedo, but you know, because he made that joke, Taishi like never forgot and made it a point to do it. Great leader, but freaking hilarious off the court. So funny. And then
what about Seiya?
I know there was one time there was this sushi restaurant that was near where we were living, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go check it out." So him and I and one of our other teammates went, right? I'm sorry, but you know, when it comes to like if I go to a sushi restaurant and they say it's Japanese, I'm just gonna assume that it's Japanese, right? But obviously Seiya will know. So we go, right? And we're there and we're ordering food. I'm like, yeah, hey, Seiya, how do you feel, man? Like, how does it feel to have like, you know, a Japanese restaurant so far away from home? He's like, this is not Japanese, this is Chinese. And I was like, whoa, my bad. My bad, man. He's like, you know, he was like offended that I would think this is Japanese. So funny.
Yeah, I remember. I think I told you this, Jay, but me and like a couple of friends went to go see Halifax play in Saga when they came to play the Power.
Yeah.
And a bunch of us were yelling from the stands, and we're just like Ando, like Seiya-san, right? And he looked at us, and he was like, "Are you talking to me?" And like he bowed so courteously, it was like awkward.
You know, not sad, but you know, part of the game. I got cut right before that game. You know how I had so many people coming to watch. Be like, yo, the homecoming. I'm coming back home to play. They're like, nah, Jay, we got someone else. Take a hike. I was like, damn, man. Right before. Because I remember being hyped for that trip and then not being able to go. But